Hi friends, welcome to Storytime. This Christmas Storytime is all about spreading Christmas cheer. What does that mean? When we spread Christmas cheer, it means that we do kind things, and it's all about the Christmas season and doing for others. So we're going to read 4 books that are all about spreading Christmas cheer. Let's first start with one of my favorites, of course, Bear Stays Up for Christmas. Do you know the bear books? I love these. The day before Christmas, snuggled on his floor, Bear sleeps soundly with a great big snore. Dear Bear, get up, Mouse shouts in his ear. We won't let you sleep through Christmas this year. His friends are all there, gathered in his lair, and the bear wakes up. He stands with a stretch and a great big sigh. I hope I can make it, I do want to try. Don't worry, squeaks Mouse. Hare says it's all right. We'll keep you busy all day and all night. He tries to lie down, but his friends all frown. So the bear stays up. Come on, says Badger, time to follow me. In Pine Grove Glen, there's a fine Christmas tree. So they stomp through the woods and they tromp down the track. They hoist up the tree onto Bear's big back. He plods very slow as they trudge through the snow, but the bear stays up. Back at the cave, Gopher brews mint tea, and Mole pops corn to string upon the tree. Raven and Wren bake a fresh fruit cake. The friends do their best to keep Bear awake. His shoulders start to stoop and his eyelids droop, but the bear stays up. They hang up their stockings by warm firelight and hum Christmas songs like "Oh Holy Night." They cuddle and sing as they wait for the sun. But soon all the voices fade to just one. A bright star glows while his good friends doze, but the bear stays up. Bear giggles and grins, he works and he raps, he bustles and bakes while everyone naps. He piles up presents under the tree, but who's at the doorway? Bear doesn't see, who is it? He toils all night until the sun rises, making his friends their Christmas surprises. Just before dawn, he lets out a yawn, but he still stays up. When Christmas arrives, so lovely and white, Bear's friends awake to a glorious sight. Presents and goodies all piled up tall. I stayed up, says Bear, just to share with you all. As his friends shout with glee, Bear lies by the tree, but he still stays up. Wren flies to the stockings and tweets out a cheer. Besides our bear's presents, Santa was here. When all gifts are open, there's one last surprise. Badger shows Bear a quilt just his size. Aww, what good friends. Bear snuggles up tight and mutters, "Good night." The bear falls asleep. His friends tidy up and slip from the lair. They whisper, "Sweet dreams. Merry Christmas, dear bear." Oh, what good friends. They spread so much cheer and made Bear so happy. The next book we're going to read is The Biggest Christmas Tree Ever by Stephen Kroll. I love these mice. Do you know these mice? They are so funny. Once there were two mice who fell in love with the same Christmas tree, but you had to see it to believe it. You see them? Everyone in Mouseville loved Christmas trees. Every Christmas, families all over town put up the biggest, most beautiful tree they could find. But first came Thanksgiving. The day before the celebration, Clayton, the house mouse, took a walk around Mouseville. He knew he should be thinking about giving thanks, but the chill in the air reminded him of Christmas. You know what he said out loud? This year, I'm going to find the biggest Christmas tree ever. Not far away, Clayton's friend Desmond, the field mouse, said exactly the same thing. That night, Clayton helped his mom and dad and his brother Andy and his sister Trudy make a special cheese casserole and a nut pie for Thanksgiving dinner. Over at Desmond's house, Desmond and his brother Morris helped Uncle Vernon fix a big pot of vegetable stew and a cheesecake. Everyone ate too much. After dinner, Clayton's grandma and grandpa sat in the living room holding their tummies and grumbling. Over at Desmond's, the cousins from across the road stretched out on Uncle Vernon's sofa and took a nap. The following morning, Clayton woke up early. He wanted to be the first at Clara's Christmas tree farm at the edge of town. That way he could pick the biggest trees. Over at Desmond's house, Desmond tumbled out of bed with the same thought. What do you think's gonna happen? Clayton hurried over to Clara's, but it was hard to go very fast. He was still too full of Thanksgiving dinner. By the time he reached the Christmas tree farm, he was out of breath. He looked around. No one else was there. Moments later, Desmond arrived. He too was full of Thanksgiving dinner. He too had found it hard to hurry. He took a deep breath and he stumbled inside. Who do you think is going to find the bigger tree? Clayton wobbled down the row of trees. Here was a nice one, but it was much too small. There was another, but it was squat and had a crooked top. Over there was a third, but it was an average height and had big gaps between the branches. Struggling down another row, Desmond was having the same problems. Clayton leaned against a tree. It was scrawny and not very tall. I'll never find the tree I want, he said. I'd better just go home. And not far away, squinting at another tree, Desmond said, I'll never find the tree I want. I better just go home. When Clayton reached his house, it was only the middle of the morning, but he was still full and he was tired. He fell back into bed. When Desmond reached his house, he too went back to bed. What tired mice. Clayton woke up for lunch and spoke to his dad. Dad said, go out this afternoon, walk to the far edge of the Christmas tree farm. The biggest trees are there. When Desmond woke up for lunch, Uncle Vernon told him the same thing. That afternoon, Clayton went out again. At the very same time, Desmond did too. Clayton walked to the far edge of the Christmas tree farm. He looked at one big tree after another, but none of them looked like the biggest Christmas tree ever. Down another path, Desmond was having the same bad luck. Starting to lose hope, Clayton peered around a very thick trunk. Desmond peered around the same thick trunk. They bumped heads and fell down. I bet you're looking for the biggest Christmas tree ever, said Clayton. I bet you're looking for the biggest Christmas tree ever, said Desmond. Why don't we find it together, said Clayton. No one said we couldn't, said Desmond. Do you think they're going to find a big tree together? Which one looks the biggest? They set out through the rows of trees. They looked and looked until it was almost dark. Just as they were ready to give it up, there it was, a Christmas tree so big and so tall it reached the sky. Both families called on friends and relations, and together they loaded the tree onto 100 red wagons and pulled it to Clayton's front yard. There they decorated it with the most wondrous ornaments and colored lights. And on Christmas Eve, with all of Mouseville celebrating around it, the biggest Christmas tree ever lit up the entire hillside. Clayton and Desmond shared a high five. "We did it," said Clayton. "All of us together," said Desmond. The end. That's exactly what Christmas is about. It's about being kind to others and doing things together. All right, I have another one about a Christmas tree. This one is new to me this year, but I do like it. Maple and Willow's Christmas Tree by Lori Nichols. These sisters, what do you think they're gonna do together? Maple and Willow loved winter. Winter brought snow and also Christmas. Getting ready for Christmas was hard work. Maple and Willow didn't mind. This year, Maple and Willow were getting a real Christmas tree. Choosing the right tree was the hardest work of all. But when the work was done, the girls were convinced their Christmas tree was the best Christmas tree in the whole wide world. The tree just fit inside their door. "It's perfect," said Willow. "I'm so glad we got rid of our fake tree. And it's my year to put the star on top." "You look like Rudolph," said Willow. "Why is your nose so red, huh?" Achoo! Oh no, what do you think's happening? Maple sneezed all afternoon. "Oh no, maybe you're allergic to the Christmas tree," Willow said. "I hope not," Maple said. But when the girls went outside to play, Maple stopped sneezing. Back inside the house, Maple's sneezing started all over again. She really was allergic to the Christmas tree, so the tree couldn't stay inside. "At least we have an outside tree," said Maple. "I wish you weren't allergic to Christmas," said Willow. "I'm not allergic to Christmas," said Maple, "just Christmas trees." While getting ready for bed, Maple said, "Willow, I'm sorry I ruined Christmas." "I'm sorry you ruined Christmas too," said Willow. Is that very nice? That night, Willow couldn't fall asleep. Willow felt sad about the Christmas tree. She felt even worse for hurting Maple's feelings. Do you know that feeling? Then Willow got an idea. What do you think she's gonna do? Getting ready for her idea was hard work. Willow didn't mind. When all the work was done, Willow decided to wake up Maple and show her the big surprise. And there, in the living room, stood the best Christmas tree ladder in the whole wide world. "It's perfect," said Maple. "I know," said Willow, and she handed Maple the star to place on top. The end. What do you think about those sisters? sometimes things don't work out the way that we really want them to, but we can still make the most of it. All right, we have one more story, and this story is called The Little Red Sleigh by Aaron Gundelsberger. Does that sleigh look fun to ride or what? Let's read this one. In a quiet corner of a cozy Christmas shop, there was a little red sleigh as bright as Christmas morning. She wasn't very big, and she wasn't very fast, and she was very young for a sleigh. But deep inside her strong, sweet heart, Little Red had a big dream. She longed to become Santa's big red sleigh. Everyone in the shop told Little Red that her dream would never come true. It was impossible. She was too small, too slow, and much too young. She couldn't fly, they said, so how could she possibly be Santa's sleigh? Oh, I bet that hurt her feelings. Little Red wondered if these things might be true. Was she too small, too slow, too young? But she believed deep in her heart that she could fly. Through the sky, she would soar like a bird. She could learn anything. She could be anything. And this Christmas, she was going to prove it. She would travel to the top of the world, find Santa Claus, and show everyone what she was made of. So as winter fell, Little Red went north. Her journey was very difficult. She dragged herself through mud and grime. She crossed rickety bridges and braved treacherous paths. Soon she started to worry she wouldn't make it to the North Pole before Christmas. Then she found some train tracks. "Where are you headed?" asked a friendly train. "The North Pole," said Little Red. "Off to see the big man, huh? Well, climb aboard," puffed the train. Little Red hopped onto the train and they chugged quickly down the line. "You have so many cars," Little Red said. "I wish I were as big and as fast as you." "I wasn't always so big or so fast," said Train. "When I started out, I just had 2 stock cars. I worked up and down these tracks for a long time before they gave me a 3rd. Then I earned a 4th and a 5th and so on." "Oh, I can't wait to be as big as you," said Little Red. Train laughed. "Be patient, little sleigh. Life builds up one car at a time." As they steamed north, the ground gradually changed from softly rolling hills to vast icy mountains. After many, many miles, Train slowed down and stopped at a station. "This is as far as I go," he said, "but over that ledge you'll find Yellow Truck, who can help you go further." "Oh, thank you," said Little Red. As she slid over the hill, she saw a bright yellow truck loaded with Christmas trees. "Hello," said the Little Red Sleigh. "Can you show me the way to the North Pole?" "Happy to," Yellow Truck said. "I'm heading that way myself to deliver these Christmas trees to the big man. Hop on." In the truck, Little Red snuggled between trees, surrounded by a sweet scent of pine. Yellow Truck drove down a narrow road, rounding curves, dodging holes, and gliding smoothly over bumps. "Wow," said Little Red. "I wish I could drive like you do." "Well now," Yellow Truck said, "I wasn't always so. Used to be, no one thought I could make deliveries. Then one winter I took a load of trees up north. It was just a few, but the next time I got more trees, then more and more. Life seems to build up one tree at a time." What is Little Red learning as she talks to Train and Yellow Truck? That afternoon, snow began to fall. Ice covered the roads. Yellow Truck's tires slipped and slid. His windshield wipers ran faster and faster as the snow fell harder and harder. "We have to pull over," hollered Yellow Truck. Little Yellow could barely hear him through the whipping, or Little Red could barely hear him through the whipping wind. She closed her eyes and held tight. She feared that if she flew off, she would be lost. Then she would never find the North Pole. When they stopped, Little Red carefully opened her eyes. Snow was still swirling, but through it she saw lights twinkling. Red, green, blue, and white. Was it the North Pole? Had they finally made it? "Do you see Santa Claus?" asked Little Red. She strained her eyes but could see nothing through the blur of falling snow. "I'm sorry," said Yellow Truck. "We didn't make it to the North Pole. We'll have to stay here until the storm lets up." Little Red nestled deep into the bed of Christmas trees, thankful for the shelter. But as she watched the snow pile up and up, her heart felt heavy. She'd come so far, and it was nearly Christmas. How would she ever get to the North Pole now? Little Red fell asleep, sniffling and wishing for Santa. What do you think's gonna happen? Do you think she's gonna make it to the North Pole? In the morning, the sun rose high and bright. The storm was over. "Happy Christmas Eve," Little Red said. "Will we get moving soon to deliver the trees in time?" "Afraid not," said Yellow Truck. "My tires are stuck tight. I can't go anywhere today. But you should take a look at the town. I'll keep an eye on you from here. You never know what you'll find when you look around someplace new." Little Red thanked Yellow Truck and slid off the trees, out of the back and down the street. She hadn't gone very far when a pair of mittened hands suddenly picked her up. Oh, wow, a sleigh! A little girl in a purple parka hugged Little Red to her chest and held on tightly as she ran down the street and up to the top of the hill. The girl sat on Little Red, and then Little Red was just the right size for this little girl. Together, they flew down the hill again and again, sledding through the snow. Soon, other children joined in. Little Red played all day, helping each child soar through the air, watching their faces light up with joy. "This is what it feels like to fly. I'm doing it," said Little Red, her heart bursting with pride. At supper time, the girl in the purple parka brought Little Red back home. When Little Red closed her eyes that night, at the end of Christmas Eve, she felt like she was still flying. The next day, on Christmas morning, Little Red woke up and sighed. She hadn't made it to the North Pole. She hadn't met Santa Claus, and now it was too late. Little Red was so disappointed she started to cry. But then she noticed a small red envelope tucked beside her. It was addressed to her. Who do you think it could be from? Listen carefully. Dear Little Red, Christmas is a time for giving. Each year, I deliver treasures to children all around the world, hoping to bring them joy. But sometimes I need a little help. Yesterday, you delivered Christmas joy to many children. Thank you so much. You made each of those children very happy, and you did it just by being yourself. You are a very special sleigh indeed. I could really use someone like you up here in the North Pole. As a special thank you, you are cordially invited to visit me in the North Pole next year as we prepare for the holiday. Merry Christmas. Love. Who do you think it's from? Santa Claus. Little Red couldn't believe her eyes. The North Pole was Santa Claus? Her dreams had come true. Just then, the little girl in the purple parka bounded down the stairs. Little Red was ready. At last, she understood what she was meant to do. She would build her life up, spreading joy, one child at a time. Merry Christmas. So hopefully after you read those 4 books with me, you know exactly what it means to spread Christmas cheer. I want you to go and spread some Christmas cheer today. Merry Christmas.